أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to the class, everyone. Whoever is joining, whoever is watching recording, welcome to the class again on the recording. So I hope everything is fine with you all. Did you manage to get the recordings done for the previous lectures I requested? If you did, that's great. We're quite well progressed, inshallah, and they're just about I think 2 more lessons I'm looking at, and after those 2 more lessons, we should be able to dive into the project. A project on its own, where you could take a full surah and try to analyze it in your own time, inshallah. Okay, and I will try my best to guide you as much as I can. Today we have a class that's on ISM Mowsool. Finally, yay! Finally, we will touch ISM Mowsool, and we'll see what ISM Mowsool really is and why we have postponed this topic so long. Now that you all have come a long way, you've done the ISM, you've done a lot of fi'il. Fi'il is still not complete. There are topics in fi'il which are to be covered. For example, conditional statements, we've not done it, but I just wanted to touch on ISM Mowsool today, give you a little bit break on the fi'il, so you get to absorb everything that you have done so far, and then probably pick up fi'il again in the next class or so, where you could actually go a bit more deeper into those topics. So the next 2 lecture recordings, the next 2 lectures, there are 2 lectures remaining after this one. Today we will cover, inshallah, ISM Mowsool. The next one is on the conditional statements, which is a very important lecture. It's a very important lecture. And also then some advanced concepts of 2 types of ISM Mowsool, like ma and man. Okay, some advanced concept. After these 2 lectures, for now, for the level 1 Arabic, we have covered more than what we expected. Okay, and we are in a very good state to start doing the analysis of some major surah, inshallah, in the Quran. So I will give you a major project to work on, which you can work on in your own time. We'll take a break for some time, so you can do the project. You will have all the support all this time through the WhatsApp and everything, of course. But this is the time you will do the project, and after the project submission, for those who submit the project and have understood everything, and they will be able to jump into the level 2, which is the Saf study, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam, Talha. How are you doing? Everything okay? So we are well advanced. The next 2 lectures will probably also be recorded lectures, but I hope you didn't find any problem in the previous recorded lecture. So the next 2 lectures are going to be recorded lectures, and you can ask questions on WhatsApp if you have to. So it's always, the support is always there. Don't worry about it. But then we'll meet in the 3rd lecture from today, where I will explain you the project. We'll do some Arabs probably of some surahs to bring everything together, and then we'll go and we'll do the projects. And project is supposed to be an independent activity. You should do it on your own. It's open book. It's everything. Of course, you can do anything, study anywhere, open your notes. It's not a test. Project is not a test. Project is effectively a comprehensive exercise of everything that you have learned in this course. And after today, there are going to be 2 more classes, and those 2 classes will be recorded lectures again, but I will be there to support you on the WhatsApp if you have any questions. Just take those lectures. They're recorded with an intention of giving students a recorded lecture. Okay, so they should be comfortable to understand. They should be okay. Okay, there should not be a problem in them. And after that, the 3rd lecture from here, I mean, the next weekend after this one is going to be 2 recorded lectures, and then the weekend after it, on Saturday, we will have have our live class just like this, where we will come together and we will we will inshallah do Arabs of some major surahs, and then I will let you. I will define a project for you. I will explain you the project. I'll show you some examples if I can of how students have previously done projects, and then I'll set you free for the project work, and we'll decide how long you want to take for the project. And after the project, we will start again, inshallah, and I will offer you another course, which is the level 2 course, and that course is going to be about the study of sarf, the word analysis, the morphology, how words are formed. It's in itself a huge topic. You will have about 20-something lectures on it, just on understanding how words are constructed, word structures in Arabic. And after that course, we will start doing the advanced Nahu, inshallah, if Allah wills. Advanced Nahu. What you have done is a fundamentals of Nahu, which is in itself quite a complex and comprehensive study. So after this course, we'll take a break. We'll do the sarf study, and after the sarf study, we'll come back again and we'll do the advanced Nahu, inshallah. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything which is unclear? Anything you want to ask? Not about the about the topics, but generally about the course, the strategy going forward. Is there anything that you have on your mind that you wanted to ask? Then you can ask me today, and of course you can ask me later on as well. But now that we're discussing, if you want to ask anything, just please go ahead and ask. Okay. Great, excellent. So what we want to do today is to start with the ISM Mowsool topic. The ISM Mowsool topic is an important topic, and we want to understand it well. And there's a reason we've kept it for the end, because it touches on fi'ils quite heavily. Okay, and it is a topic where things will start to make more sense, inshallah. Okay, so let me share my screen with you as always, and then we'll dive into the topic. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Second. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. Not this one. This one. Okay. You should be able to see my screen now, inshallah. So I have my broadcast in front of me, so I know what you see. Now it should be in front of you, inshallah. Okay. So ISM Mowsools. ISM Mowsool. Let's start with the ISM Mowsool. Okay. What we are going to do today is ISM Mowsool. ISM Mowsool. ISM Mowsool. Okay. Let me say it like that. ISM Mowsool va and Silatul Mowsool. Silatul Mowsool. Silatul Mowsool. Okay. ISM Mowsool va Silatul Mowsool. Okay. So this is what we will do today, inshallah. So what is an ISM Mowsool? First question. We've been listening about this throughout the course, and we need to understand what is an ISM Mowsool. ISM Mowsool, effectively, what it is wait a second. It is it's a relative noun. Relative noun. From the English perspective, it is relative noun. So if I tell you, for example, I know the child who created this mess. Or I tell you, I went to the place which you told me about. Okay? Or I tell you, I met the people who organize the Eid party. I went to the place. Okay. Now I've written 3 sentences here. Okay. In 3 sentences. Let me make another one. Okay. I will tell mom whatever you have done. Okay. I want to know whoever is involved in the game. I want to know about whoever is involved in the game. Okay? For example, I've just constructed random sentences here. Random sentences. So I just want you to understand it's a Mowsool concept. It's a relative noun. What do you mean by relative noun? About the people, about those. No, about. Let me keep it like that. Okay, so now the first sentence. I know the child who created this mess. Now, if you look at 2 sentences are there. I know the child. That's the sentence number 1. Created this mess is another thing, and there's a word who in the middle. Okay, that basically connects the 2, right? That connects the 2. Now this who is defining the child, isn't it? This who is defining the child. Okay, it's referring back to the child. It's pointing to the child, not really defining, but pointing back to the child. Okay, I know the child who created this mess. Okay, who created this mess? So who here is a relative noun. Who here is a relative noun. Take a look at another example. I went to the place which you told me about. I went to the place which you told me about, or that you told me about. Equally okay. Which or that, whatever you want to call it. Okay. That you told me. Now these words, which or that here, they are referring back to the place. They're referring back to the place in a previous line, in a previous statement. I went to the place you told me about. Okay. But which or that is a relative noun that connects these 2 aspects together, these 2 fragments together. Sometimes it is connecting fragments together, sometimes it's sentences, sometimes even words. But the idea is a relative pronoun, relative noun is something that sits in the middle. It sits in the middle and it connects 2 things together, right? It connects 2 things together. Another example, I met the people whom, let me just say, whom you organized the party with. Let me say it that way. Now, in this case, whom is a relative noun. It may also be called relative pronoun because it is pointing to the people. Okay? It is pointing to the people, right? I will tell mom whatever you have done. I will tell mom whatever you have done. Now, this is connecting 2 things together. I will tell mom you have done. There are 2 things distinct, and it is connecting them together and making sense out of it, right? I want to know about whoever is involved in the game. Whoever is involved in the game. These words, these are bringing two things together. These are bringing two things together and then making sense of it, right? These words are called relative nouns or relative pronouns. Now, in Arabic, these are ism Mowsool. These are ism Mowsool. Okay. Now, ism Mowsool is usually not. Ism Mowsool is usually, conjunction is kind of because they're connecting things together. Yes, connecting this together. Yes, you can, but to be very specific, if you have to translate this grammar into an English grammar, you would find more relative pronouns or noun concept related to ism Mowsool. Okay. Yes, they're kind of conjunctions. You can call it that way as well. It's fine. Okay? But there's another element to it which actually takes them a bit away from the conjunction, which I'm going to tell you now. Now, if you look at these sentences, you say, I know the child who. Now, who in this case is an ism Mowsool. Okay. Now, ism Mowsool in itself is incomplete. It's incomplete. If I say, I know the child who, okay, then who what? That's the question. Who what? What is completing who? What is completing who? The statement coming after it, isn't it? The statement that comes after it completes who. Yes? Who created this mess? Now, this statement is called Silatul Mowsool. This statement is called the Silatul Mowsool, or the Sila. All the Sila that completes the meaning of the ism Mowsool. All right? Let me highlight them up there as well. Silatul Mowsool and ism Mowsool. Okay? They both go hand in hand together. Whenever you will see an ism Mowsool, you will always have to find Sila. Because without the Sila, ism Mowsool is incomplete. Okay? Without the Sila, ism Mowsool is incomplete. I went to the place that what? You told me about. That you told me about. This statement is completing them, isn't it? This is a Sila. Okay? I met the people whom you organized the Eid party with. Okay? Now this statement is completing whom? Otherwise, things are incomplete. All right? I will tell mom whatever. Okay, whatever you have done. Whatever you have done. I want to know about whoever is involved in the game. So ism Mowsool is always followed by a Sila. Sila is used to complete the meaning of the ism Mowsool. Without that, ism Mowsool is incomplete. That's one thing. Okay? That's one thing. Okay? Let me write them down for you. Okay? 4 idea concepts of ism Mowsool. Of ism Mowsool. When I say it's a Mowsool, I'm assuming Silatul Mowsool is there, right? So I'm not going to write down Silatul Mowsool all the time, but I will just say Ism Mowsool. So you should consider Ism Mowsool as Ism Mowsool and Silatul Mowsool together grammatically are considered like one word. Okay? Okay? They're grammatically treated as one word, both. Okay? You can also consider it as an Ism Mowsool fragment if you wanted to. Okay? This is kind of a 6th fragment for you. Okay? So what we are saying here is Ism Mowsool is a normal ism, that is incomplete. That is incomplete. It is inflexible. It is inflexible. Remember that. Okay? It is inflexible. You have seen this in the flexibility topic. For example, allazi, allati, and allazina, and so on. We'll do the chart, inshallah, very soon. Okay? Okay. Okay. Now, Silatul Mawsool completes the Ism Mawsool. Ism Mawsool. Okay. Silatul Mawsool completes the Ism Mawsool. Okay. Without the Silatul Mawsool, Ism Mawsool remains incomplete. Okay. Any questions? Anything confusing you so far? And they're used so widely in the Quran. When you read the Quran, you read them all the time. You read them all the time. We'll see some examples, inshallah. Okay, great, excellent. So now the Silatul Mawsool itself can be a fail, okay, but it can be a fragment as well. It can be full jumla. It can be a full jumla, or it can be just a fragment. Okay, we will do some examples, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on and make a chart. Let's move on and make a chart. This chart is about the Ism Mawsools. Many of them you know already. Okay? Many of them you know already. So we'll make them together, inshallah. Okay? Yes, but you know what the example? I understand what you mean, Talha. But what the example you're giving is a conditional statement. If you do something, then you will get something. That's a conditional statement. That's a conditional statement. We will do that in the next class, inshallah. Okay? But Ism Mawsool, yes, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But if when I give you some examples, you will be more clear with this. Just stay with me. Stay with me. Okay? But I know what you mean. You're thinking right. You're thinking right. Okay? Up center. Okay. Now the first Ism Mawsool. The first Ism Mawsool that you know quite intensively. That you know quite intensively. Al-Lazi. Al-Lazi. You know this, don't you? Al-Lazi. Al-Lazi yu'aswisu fi sudurin nas minal jinnati wan nas. Yes? Al-Lazi yu'aswisu fi sudurin nas minal jinnati wan nas. This means the one who, masculine, the one who, masculine, the one who, or just who sometimes, yeah? Primarily the one who. Allazi yu'aswisu fi sudurin nas, the one who blows in the chest, in the knots. Sorry, in the chests. The one who whispers in the chests. That's the one who. Allazi here. Okay. The second one I want to tell you that you know as well, which is quite famous. It's quite famous, which is Allazina. 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 Now the difference is Allazina is the ones who. It's masculine plural. It's masculine plural. This is masculine singular. It's masculine singular. Okay? This is masculine singular. Allazi and allazina. Allazi and allazina. Okay? Allazi and allazina. Now let's do this feminine one of allazi. The allazi is masculine, the one who, but if you want to say the one who to feminine singular, what would you do? You would say allati. Because you know the feminine words love the ta sound, allati. Instead of azal, you have a ta. It's a good trick. It's a good trick. In the masculine versions, you will have a zal always. You will always have a zal. Zal in the masculine versions. In the feminine versions, you will have the ta in most of it. Okay, there are few which are different, but they're not used in the Quran. Okay, allazi, allati, and now allati means the one who, but this time feminine singular. But this time feminine singular. Okay. All right. Now, there are two more. There are two more that I want to tell you. One is ma, which you have come to encounter so many times in different places. Ma. Ma is another ism mawsool, which means whatever. Whatever. Okay? And it is not masculine, feminine as such. It's whatever, right? It's a word, whatever. Okay? But whatever needs to be completed. So it's an incomplete word. Needs sila to be completed. Okay? And just like ma, we have man. We have man, which is whoever. Whoever. Okay? Whoever. Now, why have I left the remaining cells, the three ones here? This is the last one is not applicable. Let me merge them. The last one is not applicable, but these three. These ones, let me change the color of these cells. There are three more ism mawsools, but I will just tell you about them, and we will not do that in this class because they're not used in the Quran. The ones I've written here are the ones used in the Quran. So this is the one you really need to know if you want to decode the Quran. Okay? Because our focus is the Quranic Arabic, we will focus on these ones, not the ones, the other three. They are in your notes. I will share the notes with you. And I will write them down here as well. Don't worry. But I just want you to understand these ones first. Allazi, allazina, allati, ma, man. These are the five you need to know. Okay? Allazi, the one who. Allazina, the ones who, plural. Allati, the one who, feminine singular. Ma, whatever, man, whoever. Now be careful. Ma and min. Sorry, man and min. Man and min. These are different. You remember min is a harf of jar. Min is a harf of jar. The only difference is the haraka. The only difference is the haraka on the mim. Fatha and the kasra. That's it. And you completely change the meaning. If you say min, you're talking about, you're saying from. If you say man, you're saying whoever. Whoever. Okay? You completely change the meaning. So it's very important that the harakas in the entire Arabic are said right and used right. Okay? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to penetrate these things in your mind. and digest them a bit, and then we'll continue, inshallah. Take your time, 30 seconds or so. All right, okay, excellent. Any questions so far? No questions? Are we good? Excellent. Okay, good. So now let me give you the ones that we will not cover, but just so you know, we will give you. Okay, so now this is the singular form. Then in the middle, there's pair, and in the end, they are plural. So the pair for the masculine is al-lazani. Al-lazani. Okay? Al-lazani. Okay? It effectively means the two who. Masculine. Masculine pair. Pair. Okay? And then here you have, in the feminine case, al-latani. Al-latani. In the two who, feminine pair. Okay? And the plural feminine, is allati. It's allati. Allati. Wait a second. Allati. Ila'i. Okay. That means the ones who feminine. The ones who feminine and plural. Okay. So we will not do this. We will not cover these. So this is not something which is in our focus for this course. If you do some advanced Arabic outside of Al-Bayan, where you want to also learn about the spoken Arabic and all that stuff, this is where you may want to do this. But within this course, we don't plan to touch on them, because these are not used in the Quran. Okay, we'll only focus on things which are used in the Quran. Well, I'll leave them here. I'll leave them here for you, so you know. Okay. Okay. Great. Excellent. Now that you know the table, the chart, okay, just keep in mind that the last two that I have mentioned here, okay, they also have additional meanings beyond Ism Mowsool. Okay, they have additional meaning beyond Ism Mowsool. For example, ma and man could be used for questioning as well. Ma and man can also be used for conditions. Okay, they're not just used for Ism Mowsool. They're used for other things as well, and we will do those things, inshallah, as we go along with the class. But right now, just know them as Ism Mawsool. Where they are not Ism Mawsool, I will tell you. Okay. Usually, students take some time to get used to mind one concept, but inshallah, as we go along and we do the practice, we should be okay. 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 Now let me jump on to some examples here. Let me jump on to some examples here. I have to go to the Quran, inshallah. Let's go to the Quran and pick up some examples from the Quran. Okay. So we will do, let's say, no, we will do one of these examples. 753 I have in front of me. Oops, not in Arabic. 753. Okay. Let me just take it from this point up to this point. Okay, I'll bring it here. I'll bring it here so we can manipulate this as well. Let me paste it. Okay, great. Excellent. So now let's look at this. Yaqulu. What is yaqulu? What is yaqulu? What is yaqulu? Let's look at this. Yaqulu. Yaqulu is a present tense fi'il, isn't it? It's a present tense fi'il. What is the hidden pronoun? Huwa. Huwa is the hidden pronoun. Okay? Huwa is the hidden pronoun. Okay? Now, whenever you have a fi'il with a hidden pronoun, huwa, what do you do? What do you do? You look for an outside doer, isn't it? You look for an outside doer. Now, in this case, do you have an outside doer? For that, you need an ism. You need an ism. You need an ism in a rafa state. You need an ism in a rafa state. And what's coming after this yaqulu is allazina. Now we know allazina is a plural masculine ism mawsool. Plural masculine ism mawsool. Okay? It's a plural masculine ism mawsool. Now the question is, what is the status of this ism mawsool? Not always rafa, not always rafa. Ism mawsool are just like an ism. They're just like an ism. They can be rafa, nasab, and jar. Just that they don't show the status clearly. They are inflexible. So from the context, we'll have to find if they are rafa or not. If they are rafa or not. Okay? So let me do one thing. Let me do one thing. Fix translation box. Okay, so fix translation box. So I'll do Yoma de goes the messengers. Community. Okay. Um, let me leave this out. It's going to become complex for you, so I'll leave it out. I thought I should try to map it to some of the context in the ayah, but I think it's going to become complex for you. So let's keep it like this. So ism mawsool can be a rafa, nasab, or jar without any problems. All you need to do is the context. Now you know that allazina is the ones who. It may be translated differently, just to create that sense in the English language. The ones who can be those who, for example. uh, you can translate that as those who. The idea is, it is referring to the plural masculine squad. It's a group of people that is plural, and they're all masculine. Okay, they're all masculine. Or you don't know the gender, so the default is also you go to the ism mawsool, ism al-lazina, okay? Because the default is masculine in Arabic. Now yaqulu is a fi'l in the huwa form, and you look for an outside doer which is rafa. Now what you find is an ism mawsool after it, and you need to know the status of the ism mawsool. There are two options. When an ism comes after a fi'l, what is the status? When an ism comes after a fi'l, what can be the status? It can either be a maf'ul. If it is a maf'ul, then it is nasab. It can also be a fa'il. In that case, it would be rafa. Okay? In that case, it would be rafa. It depends what the ism is for. If the ism is for maf'ul in the jumla fi'liya, it is going to be nasab. Remember? And if it is a fa'il, it has to be rafa. And the fi'il has to be huwa or hiya form. Now here the fi'il is huwa form. It's a huwa fi'il. He says, and the ones who is here. Okay. And here this ism mawsool is going to be raf'a because it is an outside doer of the fi'il yaqulu. It's an outside doer of the fi'il yaqulu. Okay, you have to take help from the translation. That's why I was going to the translation. So to take help from the translation for you, so you understand. So let's try it now, because now I've told you this. Okay. So yaqulu means he says, will say. Okay. Yaqulu means he says. The messenger. Sorry, no. Those who had ignored before it will say. Those who had ignored before it will say. Okay. The messenger of our Lord had come with the truth. That's the level of translation we have. But let me just take this here, from this point to that point. Okay, let me just copy it here. Now this is the translation. Okay. Okay. Now those who, or the ones who. Those who or the ones who here are referring to the ism mawsool, al-lazina. Okay? Those who is referring to al-lazina. Okay? Those who had ignored. So who is the doer? Those who ignored. That's the doer, right? It's a doer. So we're referring to those people who have ignored it before. And those are the people who are doing an action, who are the doers, right? So this ism mawsool here is referring to those doers. Okay? So if you take a look at the translation and decode it, and they will say whatever they have to say. The messenger of our Lord had come with the truth. Okay? But now what I'm trying to tell you here is the status of an ism mawsool, you will have to decode and derive from the context. It is not very easily available. You need to decode the ayah and understand the translation at this stage to understand if it is rafa, nasab, or jar. Okay, you will have to take help from the translation to find it. So now in this translation, you see those who had ignored it before will say. Now, Those who refers to Ism Mawsool. What refers to had ignored it before? Because Ism Mawsool cannot live without a sila, can it? It cannot live without a sila. And the sila starts immediately after the Ism Mawsool. And it usually ends when there is a break in the chain. It usually ends when there is a break in the chain. Okay? In this case, the sila would be from nasuhu min qablu. Nasuhu min qablu. That's the sila of this Ism Mawsool. And the translation of these two highlighted elements in translation looks like this. Those who had ignored it before will say. Now the Ism Mawsool as a whole is complete. Okay? So what you will say this entire bit, this entire bit is in place of Raf'a because the Ism Mawsool is a file. Do you understand? Are you with me? Anything confusing so far? So what you have to do, whenever you find an Ism Mawsool, look for the sila. So the fi'l is yaqulu. Okay? The fi'l is yaqulu. Now, yaqulu is a present tense fi'l in a huwa form. When yaqulu, you see yaqulu, you look for an outside doer if there is any. Now, if you look closely, yaqulu is huwa, but the allazina coming after it is not huwa, it's plural. Right? There's a difference, and there's a reason it is plural, because it is intended to be made an outside doer. Okay? So when you look at the fi'l, yaqulu, if it was not an outside doer, yaqulu should have been yaquluna, for example, in home version, because it's referring to the plurals. Okay? It is not referring to the plurals. It is intentionally kept huwa because al-lazina has to become an outside doer. Okay? And you can only make an outside doer, the fa'il, if you have huwa or hiya form. Yeah? So yaqulu is a fail, present tense, huwa form. When you see yaqulu as a present tense fail, huwa form, you move on to al-lazina. Al-lazina becomes the fa'il. We don't know the status directly, but the context tells us yaqulu being huwa and al-lazina being plural is highly likely it's a fa'il. And then we go to the translation and verify. So who is doing the action? Who is doing the action? Who is the doer in the translation? Those who had ignored will say. Will say. This will say is not, this will say is the fail. Sorry. This will say is the fail. This will say is yaqulu. This will say is yaqulu. Okay? And those who had ignored it before is from allazina nasuhu min qablu, all the way here. How do I stop here? There's no relationship between qablu and qad. There's no relationship between qablu and qad. I know sila ends. The sila starts immediately after an ism mawsool and ends usually when there is a break in the chain. It could be a fragment, it could be a sentence, full blown. Okay? Let's do some more examples. It will become clear, inshallah. Okay? Let me give you another example. Let me give you another example. So another example is, let's say we go to 2541. Okay, so let's take this one. Okay, and I'll also copy the translation. Okay. The translation is this. Is this the one whom Allah has sent as a messenger? Now, what I'm looking at is ahaza. You don't know this this beginning hamza. Ignore this. This is just for putting it as a question. When you have to make a question in Arabic, you put this hamza in the beginning. Okay, this is a question. And if you look at the translation, it is actually a question. Is this the one whom Allah has sent as a messenger? Right? So don't worry about that one too much. Okay? Don't worry about that one too much. This is just for the question. Just for the question. Okay? I'm looking at haza. I'm looking at haza. This haza. Now, what is this haza? Do we know what is haza? Do we know what is haza? Haza is a pointer word, isn't it? Haza, hazihi, haulai, and so on. We did pointer words. And if you remember, we did the difference between the pointer fragment and the sentence. We said if there is an al after the haza or after the pointer, it's a fragment. If there is no al, it's a sentence. But we also said the word allazina and allazi, the al that you see in these sentences is not a specially assigned al. It's a part of the spelling. Okay, it's just part of the spelling. So this al you will not consider as that al, like al muslimu and muslimu. Okay, they're two different words, muslimun and al muslimu. In the al muslimu, you would have a specifically assigned al to make it definite, right? In allazina, allazina or allazi, you don't assign an al specifically. It is already part of the word. It is inflexible ism and it is always proper. Okay, allazi ism mawsuls are always proper. Okay, because they always point to someone. Okay? So what we are saying is haza. Haza is coming as an independent pointer. Haza is coming as an independent pointer. Now this pointer, what is the status of haza? What is the status of haza? Haza is, there can be two reasons when an ism can be in rafa. Sorry, nasab. Or not even nasab, jar. When it is after harf of jar, is there a harf of jar? No. When it is a mudaf ilay, is it a mudaf ilay? No, it is not mudaf ilay. It is rafa. Correct. Very good. It is rafa because the default status is rafa. So it becomes a mubtada, right? So this is where the ism-based sentence starts. Now, what do you expect after the mubtada in the ism-based sentence? The structure of the ism-based sentence: you have a mubtada, then you have a khabar, and then you have a muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay, you have a khabar and a muta'alliq bil khabar. In this case, what you have is allazi. Allazi is a normal ism. I need to find the status of allazi. What do you think is the status of allazi and why? Is it after a harf of jar? No. Is it a mudaf ilay? No. Is it after a fail? So I could think it is nasab. No, khabar is rafa, Talha. I think you wanted to write rafa. Khabar is always rafa. Okay. Khabar is always rafa. Okay. So it is not after a fail, so I can call it a nasab or a maf'ul. It is not after a harf of nasab, so I can call it a nasab. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Allazi cannot be nasab. Allazi cannot be nasab because in a jumla ismiya, if you remember, in a jumla ismiya, mubtada is either harf of nasab, fragment, or rafa, ism in rafa. Khabar is always rafa. Khabar is always rafa. And muta'alliq bil khabar is a harf of jar, fragment, or an idafa with zarf. Yeah? You remember that? Here, ism mawsool is going to be rafa. It is going to be rafa because it is a khabar of this jumla ismiya. It is the khabar of the Jumla Ismiya. Yes? So there is no reason for me to call it jar, or there is no reason for me to call it nasab. Nothing is making it nasab. There is no fa'il before it. There is no harf of nasab before it. Nothing is making it jar. There is no harf of jar before it, and it is also not a mudaf ilayh. So the default status is rafa. And now, allazi, the one who, the one whom. This is what allazi is referring to. The one whom. Now we need to complete its meaning, so it needs a sila. Right after the allazi, you would have the sila started. So always after the ism mawsool, you will always have a sila right after it. They don't tolerate long distance relationship. The sila must come right after it. And it comes like this. Ba'asa. Ba'asa is like a nasara, isn't it? Ba'asa is like a nasara. Okay? Ba'asa is like a nasara. Okay? Allahu, and in this ba'asa is a fi'il in a huwa form, just like nasara. And when I find a fi'il in a huwa form, I have to look for an outside doer. And when I go forward, I find the lafzul jalala, Allahu, which is actually rafa. So Allahu, the lafzul jalala, is the outside doer. Okay? And if you look at the translation, it says Allah has sent. Allah has sent, not He has sent. Allah has sent. So Allah as a lafzul jalala is the outside doer of this jumla fi'liya. This is the jumla fi'liya beginning. Ba'asallahu, and then you find the fi'il in ba'asa, you find the fa'il in Allahu, and then you need maf'ul or muta'alliq bil fi'il, which is optional, but you then find rasulan, which is nasab, and maf'ul in jumla fi'liya is nasab, isn't it? So all of this is a full jumla fi'liya. This is one jumla fi'liya completely, having a fi'il, fa'il, and a maf'ul. Right? All of this is going to become the sila of allazi. Allazi. Okay? Allah has sent a messenger. Allah has sent a messenger. And this is a mubtada here. And is coming because of the hamza in the beginning. It's becoming a question. You see? See that? Do you understand why allazi is rafa? And how the allazi connects with its sila? So as soon as you have the one whom, you need to complete the meaning. And the thing that starts right after it is completing that meaning. It's a silatul mawsool. The blue one is the silatul mawsool. Okay? And it ends usually when the sentence ends, or when there is a break in the chain, and so on. Right? Yes, please go ahead. Ask. Go ahead, go ahead. Yes, that's correct. Ba'asa is a fail in a past tense mapping to nasara. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct, Ella. Yeah. So you understand? You understand the structure. So now this entire thing that we have from allazi all the way to ba'asa. Allazi all, can I block it in the, yes. Allazi all the way to ba'asa. This thing in the box. This thing in the box. This is supposed to be the khabar. This is supposed to be the khabar of the ism, of the jumla ismiya haza, right? Jumla ismiya, which is starting with the mubtada haza. Allazi ba'asallahu rasulan, so is supposed to be the khabar. But we did not find one ism in rafa, rather we found an ism mawsool and silatul mawsool. So we will call it, it is fi mahalli rafa. Remember I told you? Fi mahalli, this is fi mahalli rafa. Fi mahalli rafa. In place of rafa. This is in place of rafa. This is in place of rafa. Okay? Because khabar is rafa. Okay? So what I'm telling you is how to find the status of an ism mawsool. This is effectively I'm telling you. I did not give you a title before because I just wanted to make it practical. So if this is how you're finding the status of ism mawsool. The status of ism mawsool is found through the context. Only through the context. Okay? Only through the context. Let me give you another example, inshallah. Let's do another example. Let's do number 398 that I have. 198. Okay. Now let's look at it closely, inshallah. Okay. So I'll share this document with you. On these documents, you have these links. You can go to the link, and it will take you to the ayah on the Quran. So you know where it's coming from, right? So wama indallahi. Wama indallahi. Okay. Now let's analyze this. Va, you know, is a connector, isn't it? Va is a connector. Okay, but you may be thinking, va can be a harf of jar. You're right. You're right, but then you need an ism after it that is jar, right? And then you find an ism mawsool, ma. And you find an ism mawsool which is ma, which means whatever. Okay? Means whatever. Okay. Now the question is this ism mawsool? Is this ism mawsool jar or not? Is this vaw a harf of jar or it's a connector? For that you have to go back to the Quran and look at the context. If you look at the context, you will find this is a continuation. This is a continuation. And if you look at the translation, you will see and that which is with Allah is the best. At this stage, you will identify it like this. Take help from translation. Don't shy away from that. Take help from translation. It's okay to take help from translation. Okay? What happened here? Okay? It's okay to take help from translation. Okay? And this and is referring to the va. Okay? Ma indallahi. Ma indallahi. Now, ma is usually translated as whatever. Okay? Ma is usually translated whatever. Now that we know waw is a connector, what is the status of ma? It's an inflexible ism mawsool. What do you think would be a status of ma? Is there anything making it nasab or jar? Think about it. Is there anything making it nasab or jar? If you don't find anything making it nasab or jar, it is rafa. Okay? Okay? Correct. It's rafa. It's a rafa status. Right? Because of the context. We can tell with the context it's a rafa status. Okay? And immediately after it is it's sila. Indallahi. This indallahi is a sila. How do I know indallahi is the sila? Because as soon as I see it's a mawsool, sila comes right after it. Yes, it's also a mubtada, Talha. Very good. Ism Mawsool is a mubtada as well. Correct. Correct. In the translation, it is translated as that which. That which. Okay? We said it's whatever. If you just replace that which with whatever, it will also work. And whatever is with Allah is best for the righteous. Okay? And that which is with Allah is best for the righteous. Okay? Now, in the Lahi is referring back to with Allah. It's a sila. It's a sila. All right? And this is coming because of the invisible is context. There is an is after a mubtada, isn't it? Unless there is a fail, there is an is after a mubtada. You see that? Now, in this case, if you have to put the status of this ism mawsool, you would say it is fi mahalli rafa. Okay? It's fi mahalli rafa. All right. Yes, sure. What is the question? Yes, yes. I said that. The sila is right after ism mawsool. It continues until you usually find a break in the chain, until the meaning is completed effectively. So you have to find when the meaning is completed. It could be a fragment that completes a meaning, or it could be a sentence that completes a meaning. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if yes, this is usually the question every student asks, and this is a very valid question. So you look at in the Lahi, which gives you with Allah. Now, whatever is with Allah, this is a full meaning. This is in itself a full meaning. This in the Lahi is a fragment that is completing the meaning of whatever, or that which in the translation. Okay? Whatever is with Allah. Okay. Now, whatever is coming after it, is something different. It's something different. It's something more. Okay. Okay. So you effectively would take all of it. Let me just make it easy for you. You effectively take all of it, all of this is a Mawsool and Silatul Mawsool. It's a Mawsool and the Silatul Mawsool. You will take all of it and you say, this is my Mubtada. This is my Mubtada. Okay? Because you don't disconnect them. This is, before I said it's Mubtada just to make you understand, but effectively the Mubtada is this one, the second one. The first is effectively to facilitate the translation in English. It's to facilitate the translation in English. Okay? So whatever with Allah doesn't make sense. That which with Allah doesn't make sense. You need another word in English to make sense of it, right? So you say that which is with Allah, that's your mubtada. That's full your mubtada, and that's fi mahalli rafa. And then there is a break in the chain, right? And then you have khairun. Khairun. It's an ism in rafa that becomes your khabar. Khairun. Then you have the other word. Li abrari. Li abrari. Lil abrari, sorry. Lil abrari. This is harf of jar fragment, which is your muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay? So the way you know how it ends on indallahi is because there is no connection between Allahi and khairun. There is no connection between Allahi and khairun. So until your statement is going forward, for example, in the above example, هَذَا الَّذِي بَعَثَ اللَّهُ رُسُولًا. We did not stop because the sentence starting with ba'asa kept on continuing, right? And the one before as well. We did not stop because the sentence starting with nasuhu min qablu continued going. And then there was no connection between qablu and qad. And after, in the second example, there is nothing after rasulan. And in the third example, there is no connection between Allahi and khairun. So usually when there is a break in the chain, the sila ends. The sila ends. And with the practice and experience, you will find this more. It is usually challenging for students to find where the sila ends. That's why I'm saying take help with the translation. Take help of the translation. Okay? All of this is what I've boxed up there as well. All of this. Okay? Does that answer your question, Talal? Is it clear? Let me box them so you can map them. Okay, great. Okay, so let me take you to your notes that I will share with you. Here. So I will share these notes with you. These are the notes that talk about the basic concept of ism mawsool. And it is mentioned here that sila starts. It is mentioned here that the sila starts usually when. Wait a second. Let me take the point. Sila starts immediately after ism mawsool and usually ends when there is a break in the chain. And ends when there is a break in the chain. Okay. Ism mawsools are inflexible. Their status can only be identified based on context. Okay. And then we did the charts. Only the ones identified with yellow dots are the ones in the Quran. We are only focusing on that one. Allazi, allati, ma, man, and allazina. Right? We're not focusing on any other. And then there are some examples down here that we want to do probably. So let's do them quickly. So if you look at this one, innal lazina kafaru. Innal lazina kafaru. Now you know inna, isn't it? You know this is a harf of nasab. You know this is a harf of nasab fragment. Inna is a harf of nasab fragment. So what comes after inna is an ism in nasab. It's an ism in nasab. Okay? So al-lazina would be nasab here. Now, and it means the ones who. It's masculine plural, isn't it? It's masculine plural. Correct. Absolutely correct, Alan. Yes. And then certainly, inna means indeed or certainly, right? Indeed, certainly. Indeed, the ones who kafaru, disbelieved. This will complete the meaning. Complete the meaning. Is there a relation between kafaru and sawa'un? No. There's no relationship between kafarun and sawa'un. So this is where the invisible is. So all of al-lazina and kafaru is going to become the sila. This is the sila. This green part is the sila. This green part is the sila. Okay? Kafaru is the sila. The ones who disbelieved. And all of this, inna and all the way through this is the mubtada. All of this is the mubtada. Number one for us. Okay? Mubtada. Yes. Yes, correct. It's a fi'il madhi. Kafaru. Yes. Exactly. And you will find that sila is most of the times is a fail. Sila is most of the time is a fail. You will find it many times. I think more than finding an ism as a sila. Okay, sila is usually a fail most of the time. But it's not only the fail; it can be other things too, right? And then you have the remaining ayah. So all of this, what you're gonna call it? You're gonna call it. All of this box. All of this box is effectively, if you find the status of it, if you have to find the status of it, you will say it is fi mahalli rafa. Fi mahalli rafa, because it is in place of a mubtada, right? Or fi mahalli nasab, even because fi mahalli nasab, this, because mubtada can also be nasab, isn't it? With harf of nasab. Yes, question. This is a status. The blue one is status for the ism mawsool. Forget the inna. Inna doesn't have a status. Okay. Yes, you always have to find sila. You always have to find sila. Okay. There are exceptions with ma and man, as I said, because they have other uses as well. But with allazi, allati, and allazina, you will always have to find sila. Yes, only the allazina is not the mubtada tala. Allazina together with the sila is a mubtada. Inna allazina kafaru is the mubtada. Okay. Yes, the mubtada, you cannot disconnect them. Just like any fragment, you cannot disconnect idafa, you cannot disconnect pointer fragments or harf of nasab. Just like that, you cannot disconnect ism mawsool and silatul mawsool as well. So if they are after inna, you will take both of them and make them part of the mubtada. Okay? So this allazina kafaru is fi mahalli nasab in this case because it's after inna, to be specific, not rafa. Fi mahalli nasab, in place of nasab. Okay. Okay. So now let's look at a few other examples. Let's look at these examples. Qala, qala allazina kafaru. Now what is qala? What is qala? Let's look at qala. Qala is a fi'l. It's a beginning of the jumla fi'liya. It's a past tense fi'l with huwa. It's a huwa form, like nasara. Qala is like nasara. Right? Qala is like nasara. It's the same situation that we saw in the first example. Yaqulu and then allazina. Now it's a huwa form. It's a huwa form, but so we need to look for the rafa in front of it, right? So we need to look for an outside door. And when we look for outside door, we find this allazina. And if it can be, if it could be, it is, right? So because allazina could potentially be outside door, we make it an outside door. We say it's rafa. Okay, it's said here. We say it's rafa. So that becomes the fa'il. But not only the allazina itself needs a sila to complete. It needs a sila to complete. So we go forward and find what? Kafaru. Kafaru is the sila. This is the sila. This is the sila of allazina. Okay? That completes. Qala means he said. The allazina means the ones who. Kafaru means disbelieved. He said the ones who disbelieve. So this entire thing is the fa'il. This entire thing is the fa'il, not just the allazina. The entire thing is the fa'il. And it is fi mahalli rafa, because it's a fa'il. Yeah? And then we go forward and we find lillazina amanu. Lillazina amanu. Now what is this li? What is this li? This is a harf of jar. This is a harf of jar that we have done, right? Lillazina. Correct. It's a harf of jar. And the same is a mawsool. Allazina. It's the same as a mawsool. But this time it cannot be rafa or nasab. It has to be jar because it is after the harf of nasab. So not a harf of nasab, harf of jar. And we go forward and we also find the sila. And there is no connection between amanu and anut'imu. Yes, that makes allazina jar. Correct. So all of this is sila. Okay? This is sila. And all of this, lil lazina amanu. Now, I know you're thinking right, Talha, but you're slightly away from the correct terminology. So, harf of jar in a jumla fi'liya, what do you label it? Harf of jar fragment in a jumla fi'liya. This entire is a harf of jar fragment. Okay? What do you label in the jumla fi'liya? Fa'il, فعل, fa'il, maf'ul, and muta'alliq bil fi'l, right? So what is muta'alliq bil fi'l? Muta'alliq bil fi'l is a harf of jar, isn't it? Maf'ul is always nasab. Yes? So this harf of jar is going to be your number D. It's D, muta'alliq bil fi'l. It's MBF. Muta'alliq bil fi'l. Yes? Muta'alliq bil fi'l. You're thinking right. You're thinking absolutely right. This is a muta'alliq bil fi'l for the jumla fi'liya that we started with the qala. Okay? Let's look at another example. Ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Okay? What is ya'maluna? What is ya'lamuna? Ya'lamuna is a present tense fi'l, and it has a fa'il in it, which is whom, isn't it? Present tense fi'l and the fa'il. So you have started a new jumla fi'liya with a present tense fi'l and the fa'il. Okay? I'm not going to look for the outside fa'il because no, don't call it rafa. Don't call it rafa. This is a fi'l. Talha. Ya'lamuna is a fi'l. It cannot be mubtada. Don't mix up. This is a jumla fi'liya. Mubtada is in the jumla ismiya. Yeah? Mubtada is in jumla ismiya. This is jumla fi'liya. It is having a fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul, and muta'alliq bil fi'l. Yeah? Jumla ismiya is different. It has a ya beginning and una ending. It has ya beginning and una ending. It's like yansuruna. Okay? It's a jumla fi'liya. Okay? Now, when you have jumla fi'liya, what do you expect after it? You expect you expect in jumla fi'liya a fail, and then fa'il, and then maf'ul, and then muta'alliq bil fi'il. Okay. Now you have found the fi'il and the fa'il. Talha, Muslimuna is ism. Muslimuna is ism. Ya'lamuna is fi'il. No, it's fine. The questions are fine. It's okay. Just go. What I will advise you is to just go and take the present tense fail lecture again. So you would recall many things. Probably you're mixing up, but ya'lamuna, if you remember in the present tense fail, you have to look at the beginning and the ending. And the present tenses took the endings from the Muslim chart. They're similar to the Muslim chart, but they're not really isms. They are fails. They have the beginning as well, right? Like yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna. Remember that? Just take a look at the present tense chart table. Just take a look at the present tense chart table. You will find it, and inshallah, it will be okay. And if you feel a bit mixed up, still mixed up concepts, just go back and take the fi'il lecture, and it will be good, inshallah. Okay? So in the jumla fi'liya, you have the fi'il and the fa'il, and then you expect a maf'ul, and but then you find a ma. Ma is an ism mawsool, which is inflexible. So it is coming in place of a maf'ul. In place of a maf'ul. There's nothing making it jar. It cannot be rafa. It cannot be rafa because it cannot be an outside doer, because the previous fail is not in huwa or hiya form. Okay? So there's nothing making it rafa, there's nothing making it nasab. The only thing that we can deduce is it's a maf'ul, which is nasab. And then immediately after it is the sila, taf'alun. Taf'aluna, which is another fail. It is again a jumla fi'liya in itself, with the fail and the file. It is antum in this case. Is antum in this case. It has a ta beginning and the una ending. Okay, ta beginning and the una ending. So this is the sila of ma. And as a whole, all of this is fi mahalli nasab, because this is in place of the maf'ul. In place of the maf'ul, and maf'ul is always nasab. Okay? Maf'ul is always nasab. Okay? This statement means they know what you all do. They know what you all do. This is coming from a surah An-Fitar, where Allah is talking about kiraman katibin, the angels that are appointed on every single human being, and Allah is telling them they know what you all do, whatever you do. Okay? So what I'll do now is I will leave the remaining for you. I will share this with you. I will leave the remaining for you to analyze why they are rafa. The answers are given. They are rafas and jars. But then try to understand why they are rafa or jar. Why exactly? And if you have any confusion, put it on the WhatsApp, and inshallah I will answer it. I just want to quickly summarize one thing for you. It will bring things together in your mind, inshallah. So there are three things that can happen. There are three things that can happen. Okay. Okay. There are three concepts. There is fi mahalli. There is fi mahalli. And ism mawsool can be in place of a rafa. Fi mahalli rafa. It can be in place of a nasab. Okay. Fi mahalli nasab, and it can also be in place of a jar, fi mahalli jar. Fi mahalli jar. Okay, that's what can happen with the ism mawsool. This is how you find the status of an ism mawsool. When you're finding the status of an ism mawsool, it can either be fi mahalli rafa, fi mahalli nasab, or fi mahalli jar. Look for the following, what I'm going to tell you now. Look for the following. It can be fi mahalli rafa if it's a file. If it is a file. if it's a file, okay? If it's a mubtada, okay? If it's a khabar, okay? Or if there is no reason, there's no reason to call it nasab or jar. Nasab or jar, okay? Or there is no reason to call it nasab or jar, okay? So this is, oh, I'm writing it completely on the opposite table. Wait a second. Should be going here, the first one. So it is a Mowsool can be fi mahalli rafa, in place of rafa, if it is a file, if it is a mubtada, if it is a khabar, or there is no reason to call it nasab or jar. You don't find any harf of nasab before it, harf of jar before it, any fi'l before it. There is no reason. It's not a mudaf ilay and so on. You can call it rafa very easily. Now you can call it fi mahalli nasab in place of a nasab if it is a maf'ul. If it is maf'ul in a jumla fi'liya, maf'uls are in jumla fi'liya. If it is after harf of nasab, if it is after harf of nasab, okay. Actively these two for now, okay? I'll tell you more later on in advanced classes, okay? So if it is a maf'ul in a jumla fi'liya, you can call it fi mahalli nasab. If it is a after harf of nasab, you call it fi mahalli nasab. Okay? Fi mahalli jar, when the ism mawsool is in jar state. Okay? You can call it, it is jar if it is a mudaf ilay in an idafa fragment. Okay? It is after harf of jar. It is after harf of jar. Okay? Right? So these are the statuses of ism mawsool. And when you say the statuses of ism mawsool, we're talking about ism mawsool and silatul mawsool together. Okay? Ism mawsool and silatul mawsool together. I will share this with you, inshallah. You know there's a shared drive. Go to that shared drive. Everything will be there. I'll upload everything there. Okay? And inshallah, then then just spend your time with it. Ism mawsool, there is a reason this topic is kept for the ending of the course. Now you probably realize that this topic is kept for the end of the course, in the endings of the course, because students are quite used to some other concepts. If I told you ism mawsool at the beginning of the course, you would be completely confused. Okay, so it's better to just do it in the end. So just practice on it. If you have any questions, just put them on the WhatsApp. And I will share everything with you. Go to the shared drive. You will find everything over there, everything that we have shown here. And next two classes, again, a reminder, next two classes will be recorded lessons. Please do take those recordings. And the week after, we'll come back again and we will discuss the project, and we'll discuss some, we'll do probably some Arabs as well. We'll discuss some more, and inshallah, from there on, I will set you free for the project before we go any further in our studies. I think it's already quite a lot that you have digested. Now you need to take some time to collect it together, apply it on a project. Only then we move forward, inshallah. Otherwise, it's going to become too much in your mind, and you will not know how to use it. So you probably need a project to just bring everything together. Okay? So feel free to send a message on WhatsApp. Next two classes are recorded lessons. Please do take them. They're important. One of them is about the conditional sentences. The second one is about the concepts of ma and man. And after that, the week after, we will inshallah meet again in a live class where we will discuss the project and I will answer any. Okay? So until then, I wish you all the very best, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan for joining. and I will see you soon, hopefully in one of the classes. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.